I'm back. I'm Kelly and this is my channel Kel Stitches. Today is Monday 7th of August 2023 and this is Flosstube number 31. I'd just like to say welcome back and thank you to all my existing subscribers and viewers. Thanks for coming back, and a big welcome to all of my new subscribers. I have had a few in the last 6 weeks, so thank you very much for coming over and checking out what I have to show you. I might just do a quick recap of who I am and what I stitch on for those of you that have not gone back and checked out the Nervous Train Wreck. That was my very first video. So my name's Kelly, I'm 43, I have 2 children, a daughter 25 and a son who is 15. As you can probably tell from my delightful accent, I am Australian and I live in the northern part of the state of New South Wales. So I work in hospitality, I breed paint horses, and I have countless hobbies which include cross-stitching, collecting cross-stitch supplies, reading, diamond painting, paint by numbers, etc, etc. So that is that. As for my stitching, I do mainly full coverage. I do anything from large heaven and earth, charting creations, pain-free craft, artisy type full coverages down to just small full coverages that I find on Etsy. I stitch mainly on 16 or 18 count. They are my go-to fabrics. I find them easier and the best to work on. I much prefer to work on those. I haven't ventured into smaller counts, much to the disgust of Alara and Darren, who keep trying to encourage me to try 25 count. Keep trying, guys. I don't think it's ever going to happen. So yeah, that is that. I use mainly CXC floss because here in Australia DMC is like $1.50 a skein, and it would cost me the absolute earth to kit up one project. With CXC I can kit up one large full coverage for like $30 compared to probably $330 in DMC. And I have not found any difference. Well, there might be slight variations in the differences in colour, but it's nothing too outrageous and out there. So I much prefer CXC. I also use DMC in some sense, in some situations, and I use a lot of Silk's View floss in my samplers. So I do have some samplers that I do, mainly long dogs and stuff like that, but I do have a few other smaller ones that I've found off Etsy. Subject matter is mainly horses, wolves, or Native American. They are the ones that just call to me. They make, I don't know, they're just the 3 main ones that I always tend to go to. In that being said, I do other subjects, but they have to really just call to me. They have to be something that I can't stop thinking about. So I'm not one of those that will just buy a cross stitch pattern because it is in the genre or the subject that I stitch in. It has to really call to me. It has to speak to me in the sense that I can't stop thinking about it. Most patterns I will put into the wish list of any of the designers that I'm looking at, and then if a week or a couple of weeks down the track I am still thinking about that particular pattern, I will go and buy it. The reason I do that is because I don't want 500 patterns and I know that I'm only going to stitch a third of them. If I'm going to put the time and the money into stitching and kitting something up, I want to make sure it's something that I will enjoy stitching on. So yeah, that is basically the recap of me and this sometimes car wreck, sometimes craziness that is known as my channel, which is Kills Stitches. So welcome everyone, and I hope that you enjoy what I have to show you today. Okay, let's get straight into it. My first project that I stitched on was this one. It is called Adventure Awaits. It is from an Etsy store called 2x2 Stitch Art. This is one of a trio. I've already finished the first one, and I am halfway, or probably a bit over halfway, doing this second one, and then I'll move on to the third one. But that is what it will look like when it's finished. I'm sorry guys, you were going to hear zippers because I'd already recorded this once, went to play it back to make sure that it had recorded correctly, and guess what? There was no file there. So this is my second attempt, so I may very well rip through this one a little quicker than my first one. The first video was over an hour long. All right, so I'll put a picture of where it was, and this is a picture of where I'm up to. So I have finished off the black in the trees. I have stitched the words Adventure Awaits, not that you can see it because it is done in 5200 and just looks white, so you can't see it, but it is stitched. Get a bit closer, you can probably see the stitching in there. So it is stitched, and I have started on filling in the teal in around here. I think I only have the one colour left on this project to do, but it is like, I think it's like 2,000 stitches or something left in the teal to do, but it's going to be quick because I don't really need to look at Pattern Keeper for it. I can just go along and fill in all the blank spots. So yeah, that is what it is looking like. I worked on this for 2 days and I got 1,300 stitches into it, and it is being stitched on 16 count Aida. It's just a scrap bit of fabric, you know, those little bits of square fabric that you have left over from a couple of meters that you're like, what the heck am I going to do with that? Oh well, yeah. 2x2 Stitch Art have quite a few of those small round patterns that are very good to use up that scrap fabric with. All right, my next one is my advent calendar. So I am not stitching it as you see it here. I am doing them all individually so I can make them into little ornaments to hang on my tree. Still undecided whether I hang it on my big tree or I get just a little, you know, those little like tabletop trees that you can get one of those and have it somewhere to the side, so when I do my Flossmas I can just hang it on each individual day, and it'll be like a little Flossmas tree. But yes, that is what it will look like. This is a pattern by Art Inspirate, also an Etsy store. So these are the ones that I got done: 13, 14, 15 and 16. I actually think I might have had 13 done, so I might have only got, might have been 14, 15, 16. But anyway, that is the ones that I got done. slowly getting there. I've got, what, 9 left, because there's 25 of them. Got 9 left and 5 months. So I am determined to get 2 or 3 of these little squares done a month over the next few months, so I can get them cut out and made into ornaments and have them ready for December so I can start hanging them on my tree. I mean, if I don't have 24, 25 done, I still have that little bit in December to get them ready and to stitch them and make them into the ornaments. But I would probably prefer to have them all done, cut out and ready to stitch, so I can sew them all together at the one time instead of having to pull the sewing machine out, because I don't have a designated sewing area where my sewing machine's out all the time. I've actually got to get it out, put it on the dining room table, have it all set up. So I'd prefer to do 25 of them at once than have to drag all that out to only do 2 or 3 of them in the middle of December. 2 days. I worked on that for 2 days and I got 1,410 stitches into it. Did I tell you? 16 count aider that I dyed myself. Just the little scrap bits off the side, once again, off the side of when you cut out your fabric from a bigger piece. You just know those bits that you go, what the heck am I going to do with that? It's not big enough for anything. Well, make some Christmas ornaments or a bookmark or something out of them. Definitely plenty big enough for that. And I have a funny feeling that I just lost my needle. Nope, that's the wrong one anyway. No, I did not lose my needle. So yeah, don't throw them scrap bits of fabric away. Keep them because they come in handy. Even if you just want to test stitch with some new floss or something, you're not sure how many strands to use, just use a little bit of scrap fabric and do like a small square in the different lengths and amounts of strands that you want to use. All right, next one, Sunsusi. This is by Long Dog Samplers, and that is what it will look like when it is finished. And this is what it looks like now. So I am just doing all the teal first, and then I'll come back and fill in the blank spots with the purple floss. So I worked on this for 2 days and I got 920 stitches. I don't think I had to frog anything with this one because I made sure that I counted and counted again and counted even again. So I was asked on my last video, one of the comments was asking what coloured floss I was using. They are Silks for You floss. The purple is PR001 and the teal is PR147. I don't have any on the floss card at the moment because I used it all. And I am using just natural for some of the back stitching. So they are the colours that I am using. As you can see, most of the back stitching I have done with the teal. Done most of the back stitching with the teal, but this area here, the teal was not going to show up on the purple very well, so I just pulled out the natural, pulled out the natural silks to do that. So yeah, that is Sunsusi, looking good. It is not a very big, it's not a very big piece at all. Like, that is the width of it. So, and I am nearly at the bottom. I think the bottom's down here somewhere. So I'm over halfway, I'm pretty sure. I think last time I looked at it on Pattern Keeper. If not, I'm pretty close to being halfway done with it. And that is being stitched on 18 count white needle. Right, next one. Did not stitch on that one. Next one is this, and it is Waterhole Masters by David Penfound, and it is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Now, this is just the regular chart. It is not supersized to max color or any of those other silly things. It is just the regular chart, and that is what it will look like when it is finished. There is quite a few of us on Flosstube doing this one at the moment, and we're all at different stages on it, so it's kind of cool to see where we're all up to on it. Oops. Alright, so I'll put a picture in of where it was. And this is where we're up to. So I am still working on those zebras. I am going to work all the pages with the zebras in first, and then I will just move to whatever animal I want to next. But because I started in the center, I got to start on the zebras, and I thought, why not finish those off and just move around to where I want to whatever animal takes my fancy next. So I worked on this for 2 days and I got 1,200 stitches into it. It is, at the moment, is so easy to work on. There's not a great deal of confetti, there's not a great deal of color changing or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure that I will come into some confetti eventually, probably in the grass or the reeds or the tree that's up behind the elephant or something like that. I'm sure I will fall into some type of confetti hell eventually. It wouldn't be a Haid if there wasn't some type of confetti in it. But it is stitching up super quick and I am loving it. It is one of my favorite projects at the moment. It's just, yeah. If I was a one project at a time stitcher anymore, a monogamous stitcher, this would probably be the project that I'd work on. But then I look at my other projects and I think the same about them. So I think that's why I am now a multiple project stitcher, because I get to change every couple of days and work on something different. Okay, so my next one that I worked on was this, and it is called Mini Top Frog, artwork by Jody Bergsma, and it is also charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I know Darren, Dizzy Stitcher, and Judy, an Aussie in a Kiwi world, both floss tubers, are working on this as well. They are doing the max color version of it. So I'm just doing the regular version. But they are doing the max color version. And that's what it will look like when it is done. put a picture up of where it was, and this is where it's up to. So as you can see, I have moved the Q-snap. I think the last time we've seen it, I had finished this page. So I've moved the Q-snap, gone downwards. I've started getting the mouth and the little chubby belly of that bottom big frog in. He's kind of cute. So I stitched on this for 2 days and I got 1,400 stitches into it. Once again, very easy to stitch at the moment. There isn't a great deal of confetti, but then I haven't reached the reeds or the water or anything like that that is up the top and around the sides. I have just been stitching on the frogs. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll move down, keep going downwards. Once I've reached the bottom of the pattern, I'll head upwards and just do that main column straight up the middle, which contains all the frogs, and then I will move out side to side to finish off the pattern. But yeah, that is pretty cute. Loving the eyes, the shine on the eyes. And it is being stitched on 16 count aider. Alright, I am sorry if this is a bit this video is a bit choppy. This time I keep stopping every 10 or 15 minutes now to make sure that this stupid bloody tablet is recording it properly. Because this is my second time. If it doesn't work this time, I am not doing it again today, so... And then I'll be seriously peed because I really wanted to get this done so I can start my rotations again properly. All right, next one I've worked on is a shaped wolf. The artwork is by Greg Giordano and it is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Now, it's just the wolf. There is no background to this, which is why I'm stitching it on a coloured fabric. And I am currently down in this section, the belly section of the wolf. So, but it is still massive, it's still huge. Does say 5.99 by 4.87, but that would be from this very like outside stitch here to this very outside stitch here, which would account for all of this. So the background would be included if you just calculated like that, but on Pattern Keeper it's only the stitches that are calculated, and I can't remember how many it was, but there is a lot. And that's what it will look like when it is finished. There it will be. Oh, don't fall off the bed. Oh, that's a long way down to pick that up. A picture of where it was the last time we seen it. And this is where we're up to now. So as I said, this is the bottom of this page. Now, I worked on this one for 4 days and I got 2,000 stitches into it. As you can see, the bison is coming in lovely. Now, there's not a great deal of stitching left on that page to be done. So, I don't know where I will go from here, whether I go up and finish off above here, which brings you to the back of the wolf, or whether I go to the side I might actually do that. I might go upwards, reach the very back of the wolf, and then I will head across and do the rest of the belly of the wolf. Actually, it'll be this way. Head across, do the rest of the belly of the wolf, and then I can decide where I'm going from there, down his legs or his tail or wherever I'm heading with them. So I was a little concerned with this one that the clarity wasn't very good on it. Like, it's better when you pull it back. You can focus, you can see the animals come in a bit better, but it seems to be coming along all right. The more I stitch on it, the more it seems to be coming through okay. So hopefully once it's all done, it will be lovely. I mean, I know most of us, you don't stand when you got something, when you got one of your pieces hanging up, you don't stand right there nose to nose on it. So they're usually better viewed from a distance. And this one is being stitched on 18 count hand dyed, so it's probably a little bit smaller, probably maybe nearly more a 20 count now. That would be my next size fabric that I would probably attempt, is a 20 count. If I'm going to go smaller, I would probably try out 20 count. Yeah. Right. Last one for this container is this one. It is called Spirit Guides. The artwork is by Laurie Prindle and it is charted by Pain Free Crafts. I love Laurie's artwork. Absolutely love it. Sarah keeps bringing out more and more, which I just keep adding to my wish list. I really do have to get around to just, you know, probably once a month, just go and buy each of the patterns, so I've got them, and then I can get around to kitting them up. Not that I need any more kits. I think I've got over 100 kits already to be started. So, but yes, that is what it will look like. And there, I'll put a picture of where it was, and this is where it's up to. Oops, sorry about that. So as you can see, I've moved across to fill in the other half, top half of the wolf's head and face. I've worked on this for 5 days, and I also got 2,000 stitches into this. Did I tell you how many? No, I didn't. Shaped wolf I worked on for 4 days and I got 2,000 stitches. Both of these were worked on in the middle of Hell Week, or during Hell Week, so that is why it's taken me so much longer to get the amount of stitches on it. Plus I wanted to get a decent amount of stitches on it, so I am closer to my goal of 15,000 stitches. There's 8 of my full coverage projects that I have made a goal for myself to get 15,000 stitches into each of them for the year. So, which at the start of the year, when you broke it down, it was like 1,250 stitches a month to do. But I didn't make that goal every month for some of them, so it's now at a point when I average it down, some of them I have to do 1,400 stitches a month. So I have to work on them a little bit longer and a few days extra to get those goals reached. But yeah, that's what that's looking like. It's very easy to stitch, not much confetti. But then the confetti doesn't bother me because I color complete by page anyway, so it's not like I stitch so many, then I have to change, and I stitch so many and I have to change. I make sure I finish all of one colour on a page before I move to the next colour. And with Pattern Keeper, that is very easy to do. If I was still, oh sorry guys, if I was still using paper patterns, it would not be so easy. It would take a hell of a lot longer to do what I do. Alright, that is that one. There's my bookmark that I've been looking for the last 2 weeks. I couldn't find it, so I've just been using a scrap bit of paper, but I found it, so I will keep that to the side to make sure that I put it into my book. All right, on to the next basket. The next one that I worked on was this one. It is called Protector. It is by Katie Lipscomb, and it is charted by Pain Free Crafts. That is what it will look like when it's finished, although mine won't look exactly like that because I am not doing any of this background. I am only doing the coloured wolves and this earth down here. I'm guessing it's meant to be the earth. So yeah, all of this here I am not doing. I know I went and, like when I first started the project, I went through Pattern Keeper and took out all one colour. But then as I was stitching on it this time around, I was like, no, I need to take out more colours because I'm going to have little odd bits of colour like dotted all over the place down here, and I didn't want that. I just wanted the outline of the wolves. So now on Pattern Keeper, I think it is reading that I am like 60% done or something on it. Like, woo! And that's pretty good statistics for 12 months of stitching. All right, so I'll put a picture of where it was last time we seen it, and this is where it's up to now. So as you can see, this is the very, well, the outer edge of the pattern as far as I am going in this section anyway. So this is the edge of the page. That's as far as I'm doing. And down along there. Still a little bit left to do in this page, but not too much. It is looking absolutely gorgeous. The colours in this are amazing. What else can I say about it? It's beautiful. It's so easy. It is easy to stitch, very easy to stitch. And yes, I know I have got the border here, but I dyed this fabric myself. I am 99% sure that it will not run if I wash it to get out the grid mark, because when I dye, I make sure to heat treat it in the oven, which sets the dye even more, and then I rinse it really well, and after that I throw it in the washing machine for 1 or 2 short cycles to make sure I get all the dye out. So I'm pretty sure that my fabric won't run, so I can wash this once it's done to get that grid mark out. And I worked on this for 3 days and I got 1,800 stitches into it. And it's being stitched on 16 count Aida. But it's looking good. Loving the colours in it. A little bit different to my usual colours of browns and blues and purples, dark purples and stuff like that. It's got to throw a little bit of colour in there every now and then. Oh, get in there. And I have 2 more bits of fabric already dyed the same color because there are 2 more pieces of artwork by Katie in the same style that I want to do. And once they're all done, I am planning on making them into a wall hanging side by side. All 3 of them side by side in a wall hanging. Of course, wall hangings are the cheapest way to go if you know how to sew. Here in Australia, professional framing you will either have to sell your firstborn child or sell some organs on the black market, because that one there, that piece there, I'll just move so you can see the full piece. That piece there would have cost me over $1,000 to get professionally framed. And I don't know about you, but I don't exactly have $1,000 to throw away on framing one piece. I would much rather spend that $1,000 on buying more cross-stitch supplies. I am also one of those people that if it doesn't get fully finished, I really don't care, because I'm a process stitcher. I love the process of creating the stitched piece. Most 99% of my pieces are folded up and put into a box. I do pull them out every now and then and go, oh, I really should get those framed, but then again, I don't have the wall space, as most of us don't either. So I am a process stitcher. I don't care if they get fully finished. Don't care. I just like stitching and creating these pieces. And let's be honest, when I cark it, they're probably just going to be sent to Salvation Army or St. Vinny's or somewhere, like some charity shop anyway. I don't think my kids or my grandkids are probably going to, if I ever have grandkids, are ever going to be real concerned about keeping something that Granny Kel done. So yeah, back to stitching. Sorry about that tangent. The next one I stitched on was this one called Mini Shaman. The artwork is by Laurie Prindle and it is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This was one of my very first Heaven and Earth patterns that I bought. Probably about 8 years. What is it, 23? Yeah, it would have been about 8 years ago now. Fell in love with it and I still absolutely love it now. Alright, I'll put up a picture of where it was. And this is where it's up to. Stick that behind there. Oops. Stick that behind there. And that is where it's up to. Last time you've seen it, I was down here. So I've finished off that is the very bottom of the pattern. So I finished off that partial page down the bottom and I have moved across. This is the very right hand edge of the pattern. So one thing I have found, I leave a 3-inch border. Don't know if that is 3 inches, might be 2. This was, I cut this fabric way back and I think I might have only left a 2-inch border. Mainly I leave a 3-inch border, but I still find in a Q-snap that it is still very, like, you can see there, like it's not even, it's barely gripping onto the Q-snap, and that is the outer edge. So I'm going to be stitching right up against the Q-snap here. Like if you wanted to pull that out further, like that, to make sure you're not right up against it. Your fabric's like here. So I would probably suggest, if you're using Q-snaps a lot, maybe do a 4-inch border on all sides, just so you've got that fabric, because it doesn't hold tight. Like, you've got to put so much under it to maybe tighten it up. But yeah, so enough of that. So that is what I have done and where I'm up to on it. I stitched on this for 3 days and I got 1,500 stitches into it. And this is the blanket that goes over the horse's back, and then you just got a little bit of the horse left to do. But this one doesn't have a great deal of confetti in it at the moment. I am sure once I get up into the feathers in the horse's mane and the feathers of that eagle, I am sure that there will be plenty of confetti for me to deal with. But I am planning, I love Q-snaps, but I am planning on buying, well, I have just purchased a couple of the largest Nerge hoops. My hair is all over the place today. It keeps getting in my face. I have just purchased a couple of the largest Nerge frames from Sarah at Pain Free Crafts. I put in my order for my Crystal Club kit today, and I bought a couple of Nerge frames, so I didn't have to pay double shipping, because holy hell, shipping is so expensive. I thought it was expensive to ship from Australia, postage from Australia. Postage from the UK to Australia, it was like £28. Works out $56 in Australian. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I've purchased 2 of the biggest ones to see how the tension holds in them. This next one down, like the 8-inch, I think it is, not quite 8-inch, tension holds beautifully. This one, tension holds beautifully in them. Absolutely love them. So I want to see what the next size up is, which is like 11 by 10 inch. If I like them, I probably will replace all my Q-snaps with Nerge frames, just because they were only cheapy Q-snaps anyway. But I will keep the Q-snaps in my stash in case I ever start more patterns. So the next one I worked on. All right, I'm back. Just had to blow my nose. So yes, that is all the stitching I have done in the last 6 weeks. What else stitchy related? I did have some Silks for You come in. I think it was the May colour of the month. No, May. What am I talking about? May was months ago. July colour of the month. Had that. And the June colour of the month. June, July colours of the month. The club from Silks for You come in. Also had the seasonal Silks for You pack come in. I'm not going to bother showing it because there's been a few others that have already showed it that you probably watch. And as for the colour of the month, I think I am just now getting doubles of what I previously had. So not much stash or acquisitions. It is very dry here in Australia. It's winter. I know winter is generally our dry season, but it is super dry and we are having to feed the horses. So all my spare money is going to hay and everything for the horses. So at the moment there will be no acquisitions unless it was previously paid for, like Colour of the Month or Pain Free Crafts, Crystal Club or anything like that. I am trying to keep spending down. It's not like I haven't got enough stash to get me through, but anywho. So yeah, that's that. You know, that big ass pile of floss that I got there quite a while ago. Well, I got around to start sorting some of it into kits. This is how I sort my kits out. Just in snap lock bags. I will put all the floss, then I'll put the fabric in there. I write on it what it is for. I will write, once I put the fabric in, I will write the count of the fabric as well. So yeah, I got around to doing that, but I still have a big ass pile to sort, which I will get around to eventually. What else? I was gifted 2 patterns. One was from a while ago. I didn't forget about it. I just sort of never crossed my mind. But it is this one. And it is Darren from Dizzy Stitches gifted me this one. It is a pattern that he designed himself. He does have his own Etsy store. I will try to link it in the description box down below. So that is the one that he gifted me. Absolutely gorgeous. And then another one, Nicole from a North Island Stitcher. She has got into designing some of her own patterns and that as well, and she sent me, like, I think it was like eight or so pictures and just said, pick whatever one calls to you. And I took a few days I looked at them, and then I came back and looked at them again just to make sure I didn't change my mind, and it was this one. This one kept calling out to me every time. I just kept going back to this one. I know it's not my usual subject matter, but it's so darn cute. Look at those mushrooms. It is so cute. So yeah, can't wait to stitch on them eventually. I will get them kitted up, and I don't know when I'll start stitching on them, but they will be in my stash to do eventually. So the last video, I did have a few comments on my video, questions I should say, on my video. Just give me 2 seconds. Nope. Shh. Don't you hate when you go into a video and the ads start playing? It's like, I don't want you to play. I just want to see the comments. Oh my God, what am I doing? Technologically challenged here, guys. All right, comments. Let me see. Sorry, that's super annoying noise. Okay, one was, what colour flosses are you using for Sunsusi? I did tell you that back in when I showed you the project. They are Silks for You PR001 and PR147. So yes, those are the flosses that I'm using for Sunsusi. Scrolling. Sorry, I should have had this organised. Well, I did, and I answered them in the first one, and then my first video didn't work out, so... Okay, this one says, you mentioned that you stitch 2/1 on 18 count. What floss are you using? So, as I said earlier, I use a CXC mainly. It is a little bit thicker than DMC. I do use a DMC on occasion. As you can see, I just bought a shitload of it. Of course, it was on special. I do use a DMC. And I also use silks. So they do recommend 1 strand, 1/1 for silks, but I like the fuller thickness of the 2/1. I always use 2/1, 16, 18 count. I have known some people to go to 20 count and they still use 2/1. If I ever went to 20 count, I would have to test that out myself, because I have found in some areas, especially if there's a bit of confetti, it can get hard to push your needle through the 18 count. But other than that, I like the thickness of it. I think 1/1 would be a little bit sparse. You'd still see the fabric through the back of it, and I don't really like that. She also says, do you experience any stitch distortions on the 18 count? No, I don't, but I think it comes down to the quality of your fabric. Not all fabrics are created equal. You got zygwart, I don't know how to say it. But anyway, you know who I mean. You got them. You got some of the cheaper ones that in America, like Hobby Lobby and that stock. I have heard that some people have had issues with it being 16 count this way and 15 count this way. So you may get, if it's meant to be a proper square, it's not. It's going to be that. I buy my fabric from AliExpress and I have not had an issue. All the fabric I measure when I get in to make sure, and I count. I measure 1 inch and I count all the squares one way and I count all the squares the other way to make sure, and I've never had an issue. So that can cause your stitches to look distorted. Another reason why your stitches may look distorted is your tension. You've got to try and get your tension for each leg of your cross even, because if your bottom cross goes that way, you might not pull it as tight, but then when you put your top leg on, you pull it tighter, so it sort of sits like that and it will distort. So all of your stitches will look like that rather than a proper X. So just keep an eye on your tension. Other than that, I can't see any other reason why there would be any distortions in your stitches. Needle size. She says perhaps it's your needle size. Well, I don't really know what size needle I use, because back when I first started buying CXC, they would throw in a pack of 50 or 100 needles with your order as a free gift. And they didn't tell you what sizes were in it. So there could have been anything from size 22 to size 28. But in saying that, if I can find one of my needles so I can quickly show you. I'll just take it out here. I always, in the packs that I get, I always look for the smaller, thinner needles, because I do use 16 and 18 count, and I do know that it can get bulky going through them holes, because through one hole you got 2, 4, 6, 8. Through one hole you'll have 8 strands going through one hole at any point. So it can get a little bulky. That's why I use the thinner needle. That is the size of most of my needles. So I So as you can see, it is short and it is thin. It is not like your big, fat, thick, bulky ones. The only time I use them fat, thick, bulky ones is for my stamped. Where is my stamped actually? Haha, found it. I will show you the difference between the needles. Without me dropping them. All right, so on the left is my normal one. On the right is, told you I was going to drop it. Don't worry, found it. Yes, on the left is the one I usually use. On the right is the one that was sent with my 11 count stamped cross stitch. So as you can see, there is a difference in the length. And I don't know how I'm going to show the difference in thickness. You can see the eyes are different. The eye on the big one is a lot thicker. The other one's thinner. And you can pretty much see the difference in the size. So on the stamped one, of course it's 11 count, I use the thicker needle. You could use a thinner needle, but because you are using 3 strands of floss, the thicker needle, thicker eye is better. Just better put this one back so I don't lose it. So yeah, I would be guessing my needles are size 26 or 28. And they are the standard sizes that I use. You could use the bigger needle to make the holes bigger, but then you're going to be left with a bigger hole. Now I've got to unlock my phone again. All right. Rightio. And so that was all the questions from that lady. And then one other subscriber just said, you don't grid. No, I do not. I mark out the borders of my pages. Which one can I show you that's going to show the best? That one. That's what I do. I mark out the borders of my page and then work from that. That's all I do. I don't grid each individual page or anything like that. And I only do that on my full coverages, and I only do that on my ones that aren't hand-dyed fabric unless it's my own fabric. This one and Sunsusi, I do not grid. This one, because it is a hand-dyed fabric that is not mine, so I can't be certain that it will not run if I wash it. Plus, I am using DMC Etoile, and I don't know how well that floss, that thread washes. And my Sunsusi, I do not grid, and I will not wash it because it is silks, hand-dyed silks, and I can guarantee you that they will run. So they're the ones that I won't grid because I won't wash them. Any others I grid because I will wash them. And once I have finished my tigers, this one here, I will do a Flosstube extra video and show you how I wash my finished pieces. I know a lady, a subscriber asked quite a while ago, probably a good 12 months ago now, if I could do a video on how I wash my finished pieces, and I said yes, I will quite happily do that when I finish something. And I haven't finished anything that has needed washing or should be washed in that time. So once I've finished tigers, I will do a washing video just to show you how I do it. Right, and I think that is it. That is everything for cross stitch related anyway. So if you're only here for the stitching and that little bit of babble, thank you for coming around and watching what I have to offer you. I'll see you next time. If you're here to hear about my bit of quick life update, well, stick around. All right, so yes, July just went zoom straight past, and we didn't get a video. Probably should have been 2 videos in July, but we did not get one. That was because when I was due to do my next video on the 10th of July, it was the start of Hell Week at work. And I was just like, yeah, no, this ain't happening. So Hell Week, 3 main days, I think, would have catered for 2,500 to 300 people in 3 days. So on average, that is 800 to 900 people a day that we fed. Most of the time started at 6:30 in the morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and didn't finish till 6:30 or so at night. So it was 12-hour shifts. It's not so much the catering, like feeding the people. That's easy. It's the actual preparation of getting all the food ready. So it wasn't just those days that were long days, it was the days leading up to it, because at my work we don't buy in pre-prepared food, or we don't buy in frozen or anything pre-prepared sauces or anything like that. We actually make everything ourselves. So all of the dips and all that, dips, canapes, sausage rolls, finger foods, koftas, pork balls, anything you could think of, we make ourselves. So it is a big undertaking. We had a lot of people on site just to roll koftas, roll balls, make sausage rolls, make tartlets, make pinwheels, make. We were all sick of food by the end of the 3rd day. So yeah, and it went off really well because we had plenty of staff in the kitchen and we had plenty of serving staff as well, which was really, really good. And then Hell Week finished and we still had a lot of catering. We had functions, we had parties, we had celebrations, we had birthdays, gender reveals, medical dinners, you name it, we had it. So there was still, even after Hell Week, there were still days where you were doing 12 to 16 hours, because I'd start at 6:30, do the shift in the day shift, so breakfast, lunch, and then you just keep going on through so you could set up for whatever function we had for that night. And some nights you weren't finishing till 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and then I was back up and at work by 6:30 the following morning. So you can understand why I was a little bit run down, tired, and my body was like, yeah, no, just to throw a spanner in the works, you're going to catch a cold. So yeah, that was work, and life has just revolved around work basically. A week and a half ago, a few of the girls and I all got together and went to watch, from work, went to watch Barbie, the movie. I was a little bit like, do I want to watch Barbie? It's really not up my alley. I'm not a girly girl. I don't like pink. The colour pink. Pink the singer I like. And I was like, oh, do I want to? But then I was like, yeah, they asked me to go, so I might as well go. It gets me out of the house, gets me socialising outside of work. So we went, and I actually enjoyed the movie, surprisingly. It is, if you're like me and you're not a girly girl, and you already have a preconceived perception of the movie, it's probably not, it's not what you think it is. I won't do any spoilers in case in case anyone hasn't seen it yet. The only thing I could say is the first half an hour of the movie they could have done without, or even just condensed it down to like 10 minutes. They really didn't need it. So if you can get through that first half of the movie, first half an hour of the movie, the rest of it is pretty good. And that's pretty much it. The daughter's been home for a couple of days over the weekend. Came up for a laugh, a chat, listened to some music, had some drinks, all that sort of jazz. And generally I don't stitch when she's up here, even though she understands that stitching is the way I de-stress after work. I just feel it is a little bit rude that she comes up to see Mama and here I am stuck in the corner stitching. So generally I don't stitch much over those days that she comes up, which is a small price to pay for spending time with my baby girl. Anyway, so that is pretty much all. I will leave it as that. I can't tell you exactly how long this video is going to be because I've done it in like 4 sections because I keep stopping to make sure that it has recorded. So just quickly, guys, I will leave it as that. I will say goodbye. You can probably expect an update video on the 21st. I hope to be back to my regularly scheduled program of videos for every 2 weeks. So the 21st of August will be my next update. So I hope that you have had a good stitchy time in the last 6 weeks, and I hope the next 2 weeks you will get some good stitchy time in as well. Wherever you are in the world, please take care and stay safe, and thank you once again everyone for being here watching me and putting up with my long absences at times, but sometimes it can't be helped. So yes, thank you very much, guys. I will leave it as that, and until next time, bye.